He choked on a bone and died instantly. The next morning, his brothers came and sent Nnenna and her mother out, claiming that Nnenna's mother killed their brother. Nnenna's mother begged them because they had nowhere else to go as she was an orphan, but they dragged them out and told everyone in the village that she killed her husband. A very long time ago, in a faraway land, there lived a girl called Nnenna. She was the only child of her parents, and her father was a powerful healer. Nnenna loved to prepare herbs with her father while her mother cooked. When her mother complained, her father would always say, "Let my daughter be." Her father always said she looked very much like his dead mother, who taught him all he knew about herbs. One night, as her father was eating the soup prepared by his wife, he choked on a bone and died instantly. The next morning, his brothers came and sent Nnenna and her mother out, claiming that Nnenna's mother killed their brother. Nnenna's mother begged them because they had nowhere else to go as she was an orphan, but they dragged them out and told everyone in the village that she killed her husband. As they walked out of the village, people mocked them and called Nnenna's mother a killer. Nnenna and her mother traveled through many lonely paths, hungry and thirsty, in search of a shelter. They stayed under a tree one night as it rained. The rain continued all night, and they were drenched and cold. Nnenna's mother became very sick, and Nnenna ran around the path in search of help, but found none. When she tried to go back to her mother, she could not tell her way because the paths all looked the same and were confusing. In the dead of night, Nnenna stumbled through the darkness, her heart pounding with fear and hope. Hours turned into an eternity as she searched desperately for the one person who meant everything to her. Finally, she found her mother, frail and fading, her life hanging by a thread. Tears streamed down Nnenna's cheeks as she clung to her mother's hand, feeling the warmth slowly slipping away. With her last breaths, her mother advised her to always be good to people, to help others, and to forgive. With a final, tender blessing, her mother's spirit departed. Filled with unexplainable grief, Nnenna called on her mother to wake up until she fell asleep. The next night, she dug up the wet ground with her hands and buried her mother. Nnenna continued the journey, and a few days later she got to a market where she fainted. One of the women in the market carried Nnenna to her house and treated her. After she listened to Nnenna's story, she fed her and allowed her to live with her. Nnenna was very grateful to her, and she did all the chores in the house. One night, the woman's husband climbed over Nnenna while she was sleeping, and she screamed. The husband told the woman that Nnenna had been seducing him since she came, and that she was bad. Nnenna begged the woman, telling her she did not do it, but the woman was adamant and called the village guards to arrest Nnenna. Nnenna stayed in prison for many years and worked on the king's farm with other prisoners. One fateful day, as the princess was passing through the farm, she saw Nnenna and other prisoners working on the farm. She wondered why a young girl like Nnenna was there and asked the guards, who told her Nnenna's story. Moved by Nnenna's plight, the princess approached her, seeking the truth from her lips. With a voice trembling with innocence and pain, Nnenna shared her ordeal. In a moment of compassion and resolve, the princess commanded Nnenna's release and took her as one of her maids. Nnenna was very grateful to the princess. Nnenna loved serving the princess, and soon she became the princess' favorite maid and friend. The palace went into chaos when the prince, the only son of the king, fell ill. Many healers were invited to the palace, but no cure was found for the disease. Nnenna's heart broke every time she watched the princess cry over her brother's health. One night, as the princess was crying, she asked for the symptoms of the disease and also told the princess about a medicine her father once made when he was alive. That night, Nnenna escorted the princess to the prince's chamber, and she examined the prince. The next day, she set out into the forest to collect the rare herbs her father used. It took Nnenna 3 days to find them all. Nnenna prepared the medicine and went with the princess secretly to the prince's chamber to feed him the medicine. In a few days, the prince was strong and well again. This made everyone happy, and the prince felt indebted to Nnenna. She was rewarded with a fortune that surpassed her wildest imagination, but the most precious gift of all was the friendship that blossomed between her and the prince. After many months, their hearts intertwined. They pledged their lives to each other in a union that was celebrated across the kingdom. Nnenna, once a humble girl wronged by fate, ascended to the throne as a queen. But her most remarkable journey was in becoming a healer, a guardian of life, whose power and wisdom left an indelible mark on her people.